This is Jump, Book 1 of the Robert March Chronicles, Chapter 1.
The collapse came quickly, like a dead star finally surrendering to the quantum forces and becoming a singularity, a black hole. And I caused it. I'm sure you know all about it. My company, my brainchild, Intelligenery, was the poster child of Tech Crash 2. The story of its collapse was one of the top stories of 2032. It was the most spectacular business collapse of the year, in a year that had many. It was the lost year, the year my worlds folded in on themselves. I knew it was coming, but that didn't soften the blow. I had spotted it months ago and knew it was going to be bad, really bad. It's amazing how one tiny mistake, one seemingly minor oversight, can spin up into a firestorm, a hurricane, an earthquake. The butterfly effect can be a bitch. In the year prior to my downfall, Intelligenery had become the hottest thing going in the tech world. My company was being hailed as the next Microsoft, the next Tesla, the next Amazon. Our upcoming IPO was highly anticipated. Many years of hard work was about to pay off in a big way, for me, for my shareholders, and for humanity in general. Our breakthrough in solar power generation and the products that we were poised to spin off from it would, once and for all, allow average people to harness the unlimited power of the sun and power their lives at virtually no cost. It would truly be a paradigm shift. But out of nowhere, we were hit by a patent suit. A troll out of Redmond had somehow got his hands on the patent for a key element of my discovery, one that I thought I had buttoned down months ago. How it slipped past me, I had yet to figure out. The troll, a sketchy lawyer working out of Los Angeles, sued. Things did not go well for us in court. We tried to settle, but he was oddly immovable. We tried throwing money at him, huge money, millions and millions of dollars, enough to set him up for life. But he refused to play ball. It seemed he just wanted to crush me and destroy my company. Why? His true motive was unknown, but he sure didn't seem to be in it for the cash. I tried to do the right thing, so I made sure our investors and Wall Street knew what was up. Our due diligence was done duly and diligently. Word of our troubles soon hit the financial press, and a media frenzy erupted. Things went from bad to worse, fast. Major investors began to pull out. Venture funding dried up. Pre-orders for our first round of consumer products were canceled. Within a matter of a couple of months, we were on the ropes and nearing bankruptcy. Our collapse started a chain reaction that led to massive layoffs at our partner companies. Many closed their doors, for good. Even our competitors were forced into unexpected cutbacks. Panic was in the air. The contagion spread. And before you know it, a widespread collapse of the tech sector began. The carnage was horrendous. Billions in equity evaporated in a matter of days. Not since the dot-com crash of the late 1990s had there been such enormous losses in such a short period of time. I allowed myself to become the face of the crash. I was trotted out on the cable news and business channels for interviews, gaped at and queried like some kind of high-tech freak in a media sideshow, and generally humiliated in a very public fashion. No excuses. I deserved it. But toward the end of that spring, I had retreated. I had been fending off requests for interviews for weeks. My phone rang constantly. I seldom answered it. At work, I spent the days alone in my office, conferencing with investors, both angels and otherwise, trying to delay the inevitable. Then, as spring turned to summer, tragedy struck. My beloved wife Lori, the only woman I had ever loved, who had loyally stood by my side throughout this horrific ordeal, and my beautiful son Jed were killed in a traffic accident. I was totally shattered. The media vultures let up for a little while, but it didn't take long for them to get back to their job of making my life a living hell. I became a recluse in my home, seldom venturing out at all. Some days I didn't even bother to get out of bed. My family, my company, and my life were over. It was just a matter of tying up a few loose ends and shutting everything down. I was a dead man walking. On the morning of August 2nd, 2032, I emerged from my isolation and made my way to company headquarters. Not surprisingly, I was greeted by a media riot at the front door. Today was special. Today was the day we were going to finally pull the plug on good old IntelliGenery and send its remaining unsalvageable elements spinning out into the universe, unmoored, like marooned astronauts. Where do great ideas go when they are found to be unworkable? Is there some kind of heaven for ideas? Or a hell? I made my way into the building and walked through the main floor, its gleaming glass and steel conference rooms and offices mostly empty now. Just a skeleton crew remained. A receptionist, a few tech guys, our PR department, and a handful of company officers that would be involved in the final termination of the company. IntelliGenery's chief counsel, David Baker, approached me as I walked toward my office. He was a tall, sandy-haired man whose wiry frame betrayed his passion for long-distance running. He had been a star attorney at one of the big venture firms before I convinced him to jump ship and sign on with IntelliGenery back in our startup phase. Poor guy. I'll bet he regretted that decision. I had certainly kept him busy the last few months, trying to hold off the wolves at our door.
Robert, the SEC has been trying to schedule a meeting for days now. I can't keep putting them off.
Not now, David.
But what should I tell them?
Not now, buddy. Sorry. I entered my office and shut the door behind me. I had one task on my mind that morning, and I would not be deterred. I was going to give the media vultures out front something to really crow about today. Do vultures crow? If vultures can crow, these vultures were going to be crowing their collective asses off in about an hour or so. The note was short and sweet. To whom it may concern, this decision was taken by me after long and careful deliberation and with a sound mind. I'm truly sorry for the pain and distress that my actions have caused and will cause. Please know that I had nothing but the best intentions for my employees, our partners, and the world at large. I fully believe that IntelliGenery would have made the planet a better place. Perhaps some good will eventually come of it. As for me, I simply cannot continue. With love, Robert March. I left it on my desk and headed for the roof. This was going to be one memorable company collapse, that was for sure. Why do it? I mean, it wasn't like this was the first tech company that melted down out here. This valley was full of the ghosts of high-flying companies that had crashed and burned. It's practically par for the course. But for me, it was personal. IntelliGenery was my baby, my brainchild. I had birthed it alone in the proverbial garage behind my house. And like the world's worst helicopter parent, I lived and breathed through my child. Intelligenery was my life, my statement of being, my identity. It was more me than me. And now it was dead. And I was the one who had killed it. My family was gone. Most of my friends and business associates had deserted me. I was an international laughingstock. I literally had no reason to go on. It was time to bring it all to a close. It was a beautiful day in Palo Alto, and the view from the roof was spectacular, as usual. The magnificent glass towers of the tech giants spread out across the valley, glittering in the summer sun. I could even see the Apple campus, miles away on one infinite loop. I stood at the edge, looking down at the ground 10 floors below. I took a deep breath and prepared myself for my final act. My phone rang, which was weird because I had made a point to leave my phone at home that day. I wanted no distractions on this day, my last day. Yet there it was in my back pocket, ringing insistently. The caller ID was a number I didn't recognize, and, oddly, it was coming from area code 911. What the hell? Is that even an area code? For some crazy reason, I answered it. Hello?
Hello? Is this Robert March?
Yes. Who is this?
Mr. March, you don't know me. I'm Dr. Stephen Glass. I'm a physician at the VA Medical Center in San Francisco. I have a patient here who says he's a relative of yours. Colonel Bob March?
I don't know of any relatives in the military. How did you get this number?
I'm calling you from Colonel March's phone. He had this number on it. He asked me to call you.
Well, this has to be some kind of mistake. Look, this is really not a good time.
Colonel March says that you need to come see him. He's in pretty bad shape.
Come see him? You're kidding, right? Look, I'm not sure if you are aware of what's going on, but I'm somewhat busy at the moment.
I'm aware. I watch the news. But I really think you need to come see him. I think this is legitimate. The family resemblance is remarkable, and he did have your number.
Is this some kind of a joke?
It's no joke. The man is dying. He probably won't last through the day. You're a veteran, aren't you?
Yeah, but...
You need to come then. Give a bit of comfort to a dying soldier. What can it hurt? You just might...
The line went dead. I looked over the edge at the ground below. I looked back at the screen. I scratched my head, then scrolled over to my Uber app. After a long while, I tapped it.
You've been listening to Jump, Book 1 of the Robert March Chronicles. For more information, visit therobertmarch.com.